Wednesday, the 3rd of April. Hello, everyone. This is your Frontier Opening Bell. I am Bosin Amafaye, and this is how we're getting started. It's the first trading day of the new week, the new month, and the second quarter. Was a little bit mixed with a bit of a rocky situation around developed markets around the world, in particular for emerging markets as well. And so the frontier African markets got a bit of that bout yesterday, with the South African market down by 0.14%. Financials and industrial counters led to decline on Tuesday, the first day of the week, of the business week in South Africa, the most advanced market on the continent. The Nairobi stock market also got about roughly 0.25% in the negative territory. The Egyptian market was also sold down by about 1.3%, taking the EGX 30 below the 28,000 level and taking a bit of the gains that is reposted on Monday, about 5.26% into the negative territory. The BRVM eked out about 0.1%. The Nigerian stock market saw a very strong buying sentiment in the banking space, with a bit of a pricing bit mix, as it were, with a couple of earnings coming from Nigeria's marketplace. And of course, we've seen a bit of that, however, across the region as well. So there's no exception. We'll touch on that a bit later on the show. The NGX was down by 0.04%. The market melted just about 30 billion naira in local currency. But let's just move on and check with the East African corridor. Let's give you the news coming through overnight. The IMF team that's currently in Nairobi is having meetings with the Minister of Finance and other government and cabinet ministers to discuss the way forward under the extended credit facility and the EFF of the IMF for Nairobi, for the government of President William Ruto. News had it that about $1.8 billion is what is on the table. The World Bank also says it's bringing about $1.3 billion onto the table to support Ruto's administration. All of that is what's being considered as we see further support being put together to support the government in Nairobi. And that's one good big news out of East Africa's biggest economy. In the meantime, if we stick with Kenya, where the FTSE Russell has upgraded Nairobi Securities Exchange from restricted to pass, because the restrictions around and the problems around repatriation of funds from the market in Kenya has now been resolved. FTSE Russell classified the Nairobi stock market as a frontier market in its index portfolio ranking. In the meantime, the Nairobi Securities Exchange reported itself. The NSCP also reported January to December last year, net interest income negative 21%. Other income came in better, however, 64%. And you've got earnings per share up by 40%. A cash interim dividend of 0.16 shillings will be paid to shareholders of the NSC PLC. Those numbers came in yesterday as we saw other companies within the Nairobi stock market reporting for full year 2023. NCBA, the I&M Bank also reported and had a media briefing. If we get out of Kenya and move into Tanzania, where the brewing company says it's paying about 537 Tanzanian shillings as cash dividend for last year. That's roughly 4.9%, roughly 5% of as a dividend yield. Bamburi Cement reporting on the NSE in Nairobi, full year profit will be down about a quarter of what it was reported last year. That was a profit warning which was issued on Tuesday when the market reopened for the new week. Those are your headlines east of the continent. Let me take you through the West African region, and Nigeria is standing out with the news coming through Tuesday that gas prices will be moved upward. That's what the agency for midstream and upstream regulatory agency spoke about. There's also news all over this morning that the government is moving to increase electricity prices very substantially to the upside, something that could perhaps be close to cost-reflective or market-reflective investment-friendly levels in the country. Is going to be a major tough line for the Tinubu's administration to walk through as we saw the impact of petrol prices to subsidy removal, prices going up. Then, of course, you've got exchange rates also move up very strongly, though now stabilizing around 1,200. But again, that's a far cry from around 600, 800 to the dollar last year. It's a tightrope the administration is walking right now, but its government is looking to increase investment in the gas and electricity sector. Those are some of the big stories that coming out of Nigeria. In the meantime, the Nigeria Bureau of Statistics says the cost of a decent diet or healthy diet in Nigeria is about 938 naira per person for February. Dangote Sugar on Tuesday announced the opening of its Series 2 and 3 commercial paper. That's roughly 50 billion naira out of the company's 150 billion commercial paper program. The current short-term borrowing program will close on Friday the 5th. In the meantime, Côte d'Ivoire says it's paying cocoa farmers a whole lot more as the saw cocoa prices top $10,000 per metric ton. That price decelerated Tuesday to about 9,900 at the global marketplace. Africa's youngest president, President Bashir Faye, says he's going to do what he calls systemic change in the country's political and socio-economic cycle as he becomes the new president of Senegal. That's the latest news. It was inaugurated on Tuesday. Let's get on to Southern Africa, and there's going to be more pain at the pump for South Africans starting today, the 3rd of April, and that's no good news as the South Africans walk towards the general elections at the end of May. We've seen petrol prices go up. The authorities in South Africa says they're considering the impact of the Ukraine's attacking and damaging Russian refineries within the Russian invasion of Ukraine continues, the war going on there. Then you've got the escalation of crisis in the Middle East with Israel's attack on Iran's embassy in Damascus. That killed about 2 Israeli generals and a few others. Iran is promising to retaliate on the Israeli attacks. The U.S. is trying to weigh in and call for a ceasefire. All that getting oil prices up. Early this morning, Wednesday, London Brent crude just standing for June delivery, standing at about $90, $89.20 early today. Let's see how things move on. The GMMC and the OPEC ministerial meeting is not making any adjustment to the existing policies of OPEC Plus until June the 1st, when the main meeting will take place. So we'll see things holding on until then. While we deal with supply concerns that is coming through on the back of those 2.2 million barrels per day, voluntary cutback by OPEC Plus members and a few others also cutting back. We also have issues around Nigeria and Iraq producing less than expected within the OPEC group. That's also part of the news on the street. In the meantime, South African manufacturers are very optimistic despite the country's PMI manufacturing PMI data coming in at a contractionary 49.2 reading for March against 51.7 expansionary level in the month of February. FBC Bank in Zimbabwe reporting for its 12 months ended December 31st, 2023, reporting net interest income up 68%, total net income better by 138%, and it says the profit after tax was 250% better. Investors, however, started a new week on the VFEX, also in Zimbabwe, the only exchange that trades only in US dollar terms. $110,000 in 47 trades were done on Tuesday. Econet Zimbabwe has rolled out further clarifications on the share reconstruction as far as Echo Cash Holdings is concerned and the way forward. The shareholders will read up the details of that from the company. Let's get on to North Africa. In sum it up, President El-Sisi was sworn in on Tuesday to formally start his 3rd term in office. He won a re-election last December. It wasn't really hotly contested, as it were, but of course it's getting support, as it were, because the IMF says it's putting an additional $5 billion on the table. It's raising the level of support for El-Sisi's administration. The president sworn in Tuesday, says it's going to focus more on social infrastructure and other investment in North Africa's biggest economy and one of the biggest on the continent. Morocco has gotten its S&P outlook raised from stable to positive, while Canon camera is setting up what it calls a photography studios at Kidzania in Cairo that will enable Egyptians who are between the ages of 8 and 14 to learn the art of photography, catch them young. Of course, you know that Egypt is one of the Africa's and the world's biggest center of tourism. So they want to get more young folks into the business of photography. You can be part of what Canon is putting together in Cairo, Egypt. That's all for today on Frontier Opening Bell. I am Bosin Amafai. I'll see you soon. Have a great day, everyone.